Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, going to be talking about the NFL Showdown slate on Draftkings for Week 8 Thursday Night Football. Got a pretty decent primetime game this Thursday night. We got the Ravens and the Bucs playing. This should be a fun Showdown slate. It should be a fun game to watch. Right now, this game does have a 45 total. Ravens are favored by 1.5, so we'll probably get somewhat of a high-scoring game. Should be a close game as well. And we do have a Millie Maker. DraftKings, they did bring back a Millie Maker for this game. I know there wasn't a Millie Maker for the Monday Night Football game. I don't think there was one for the Thursday Night Football game last week. But we got a Millie Maker for this Week 8 Thursday Night Football game. So, as always, guys, we're going to talk through this Showdown slate. We're going to go kind of from top to bottom and just hit on all the playable options, all the guys that I do have interest in. But before we do get started with the breakdown, if you guys enjoy these Showdown videos, these DFS videos, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button as well. Also, be sure to check out PrizePicks. They are the sponsor of this video. You can sign up for PrizePicks and use promo code NOAH. When you do sign up with my promo code, you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. And for those of you that are new, if you've never heard of PrizePicks, they are a player prop based DFS site where it's very simple. You're just picking over or under. You're taking more or less on a player's projection. They do have some projections already posted for Thursday Night Football. You can take a look at those and see if there's any props that you like, that you want to play. I do plan on making a video for this Thursday Night Football game, probably sometime on Wednesday. I will upload my PrizePicks video. I'll give out 2 plays that I'll be playing for this game. So if you want to check that video out, and if you want to tell the picks I give out, you can do so. But if you've not signed up for PrizePicks yet, definitely get over there, sign up, use code NOAH. We've been talking PrizePicks all NFL season, going to keep doing so. Also been making NBA content for PrizePicks. So I'm going to have a lot of stuff on the channel, PrizePicks related. You guys definitely need to be playing on PrizePicks if you're not yet. But let's talk through the DraftKings Showdown slate. We're going to start off at the top of the player pool. Lamar Jackson, most expensive option on this slate, $11,800. I think he's worth the price tag here. Lamar Jackson, pretty much any Showdown slate he's on, any Showdown slate the Ravens are on, Lamar Jackson is going to stand out as a top overall option. I will say that he's not really been playing that well. Like, he's definitely been on a bad stretch. He has less than 20 DraftKings points now in 4 straight games after he was just unreal to start the season. At some point, Lamar's going to have a big game where he throws for 250 yards, multiple touchdowns, has a 70, 80 rushing yard game. We know that massive upside is always on the table for Lamar. And I want to say that, this Bucs team, they've historically been a pretty tough team to run on. They're a team you kind of have to beat through the air. So far this season, I think they've been, not as stout against the run, but I mean, they're still only allowing like the, 6th fewest fantasy points to running backs. I don't know if the Ravens, they're a team that wants to run the ball as much as possible, but I don't really know if they're going to have much success running the ball against this Bucs run defense. So I think this could be a game where Lamar has to throw more. His pass attempts were way down last game, but I think they'll get back up to like the low 30s here. Again, we know Lamar has rushing upside too. He's a top option, and I think playing Lamar at captain is something that I'm definitely fine with. I typically don't play quarterbacks at captain, but when it's guys like Lamar that can do it themselves, usually those are guys I like to play at captain. A guy like Tom Brady, talking about him, he's someone that I usually don't play at captain just because if Brady does have a really big game where he throws for 300 plus yards and multiple touchdowns, normally one of his receivers is going to be a better captain play, whether it be Godwin or Evans. Now, Brady can have a game where he throws for 300 plus yards and throws 3 touchdowns to different receivers, and if there's no one receiver that has a big game, then sure, Brady could wind up being the winning captain, but he's not a guy that I typically play in the captain spot. But in cash games for floor, he's definitely one of the highest floor plays on this slate. I mean, Brady, we know this Bucs offense is just going to throw the ball a ton. 40 plus pass attempts now for Brady in 5 straight games. Some of that has kind of been game script related. I mean, last week against Carolina, they were basically trailing the entire game, and Brady threw the ball 49 times. I don't know, if this is going to be a game where Tampa Bay's trailing again. I mean, Tampa Bay's not been playing that well lately. I think this will be a close game, though, so we can expect probably close to 40 pass attempts for Brady here. Doesn't really offer any rushing upside, but he can throw for 300 plus yards, multiple touchdowns any game. And I think if this game does wind up kind of being like a shootout, that could definitely help Brady. At 10K, I think Brady's firmly in play. He's definitely someone I'd want to get in cash games. I think I'd want to be playing both quarterbacks in cash games on this slate. For GPPs, I think Brady's a solid flex play. I don't know if I'd be using him in the captain spot, though. I think I'd be a lot more likely to play one of his receivers in the captain spot, who we'll talk about in a second. Mike Evans, though, you have an 11K. We kind of skipped over him. I mean, Evans has kind of been banged up lately, but he's been playing these last few games. I mean, he's played now, 4 games in a row. He's on the injury report. He was limited in Tuesday's walkthrough, but I expect Evans to play come Thursday night. Evans, we know, is going to have a big role. We know he's going to get a ton of volume. Him and Chris Godwin have really been dominating the targets lately. At $11K, like, he's expensive, but I think Evans is definitely someone you can pay up for. I don't think he's going to be, like, too chalky on this slate. I think you'll see a lot more ownership go to Mark Andrews, who's almost $2,000 cheaper. I think you'll see a lot more ownership go to Chris Godwin, who is $2,000 cheaper. I think Evans is kind of like a solid pay-up captain option that I think comes in with somewhat low ownership. And we know Mike Evans can have those games where he scores like 3 touchdowns. They love to target him in the red zone. Mike Evans just always seems to score touchdowns for whatever reason. We know he's going to get the volume as well. The targets are going to be there. I think he's firmly in play. I really don't have anything negative to say about Evans. But Mark Andrews and Chris Godwin, I think, points per dollar wise, I think points per dollar, these guys just look like better plays. But I do also expect their ownership to be probably higher. Andrews obviously is coming off a terrible game last week against Cleveland where he had 0 catches for he had 0 catches and just 2 targets. The only points he got were from a 4-yard run, which is just crazy. I mean, I don't know when was the last time that Mark Andrews had 0 catches. Like this might be the first time in his NFL career that he's had 0 catches. Just crazy, man. I don't know what happened with Andrews last week. I know the Ravens passing offense just was terrible, and Lamar only threw the ball like 15 times, but still 2 targets, no catches for Andrews is pretty crazy just to think about. I would expect Andrews to bounce back, though, this week. I think the matchup's solid here. Again, Tampa Bay is a team you kind of have to beat through the air. So far this season against the tight end position, they are giving up the 9th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. I know last time I checked, I know that they were giving up like a lot of targets and receptions. 36 receptions to tight ends, receiving yards. They're about top 10, just outside the top 10 in that category. But I think it's a good spot for Andrews here. We know he's going to get plenty of volume. I'm pretty sure he's actually leading the league in target share this season, or at least he was last week. Now, after only having 2 targets this previous week, he probably doesn't lead the NFL in target share anymore. Actually, he does. The chart that I'm looking at still has Andrews leading the league in target share, 33% target share this season for Mark Andrews. He's just getting so much volume. If Lamar throws the ball 30 times, it's almost a guarantee that Mark Andrews is getting like 8, 9, 10 targets. So I think Andrews is a very solid option. I think Chris Godwin's a really good play too. Chris Godwin is fully healthy now, and he's been playing really well lately. He's been getting a ton of opportunity, double-digit targets in 3 out of their last 4 games. I know he led the Bucs wide receiver core in snaps played. Last week he played 94% of the snaps. He's going to be out there for almost every single snap. He's one of Brady's favorite targets. 9K is definitely way too cheap for Godwin here. I think him and Evans should probably be closely priced. And the reason I think Evans is going to be so low owned, they're not so low owned, but I think the reason Evans is going to be lower owned than Godwin is just because he's so much more expensive. And I think if those guys were projected closely, like in terms of price tag, if they were around the same price tag, then you would probably see ownership be about the same. But because there's such a big drop off in price, I think a lot of people are going to flock to Godwin. I like Godwin quite a bit at 9K. I definitely think he is too cheap. But both those Tampa Bay receivers are in play here. I wouldn't be surprised if you see 10-plus targets for both Evans and Godwin. Really nothing negative to say about either one of them. Now, Leonard Fournette in the mid-range, he's 8,800. I don't know about Fournette here. Like, his role is definitely, it's been up and down. He started off the season just getting a ton of opportunity. He was getting massive volume. And then last week, it was obviously concerning that he's really inefficient on the ground, just averaged 2.4 yards per carry, 8 carries for 19 yards. And he really wasn't involved in the passing game a ton. Like, even in a game where they were trailing, Fournette only saw 3 targets after getting 6, 11, 7, 6 targets the previous 4 games. That's definitely a little bit of a concern. We've also seen Rachaad White's snaps increase the last few games. Rachaad White played 43% of snaps last week. Fournette played 60%. I still think Fournette offers upside because we know Brady loves to target his running backs. I think Fournette is going to have a really good role in the passing game, but he's definitely been inefficient as a runner lately. I mean, averaging 2.9 yards per carry, 3 yards per carry, 2.4. We haven't really seen him break off a ton of long runs, be really efficient, but he's going to get the volume, I think. I think the workload's still going to be there, but it is a little bit concerning that Rachaad White is starting to kind of eat into Fournette's workload. He's starting to play more snaps. That's obviously not great, but I still think at 8,800, Fournette is playable here. I probably would rather get to Godwin and Andrews, but I don't have an issue going to Fournette. Now, these Baltimore guys like Gus Edwards obviously had a big game last week, but he had 2 goal line touchdowns. I'm pretty sure both of his touchdowns were at the goal line. Just like kind of a fluky game. 16 carries for 66 yards. Wasn't like super efficient on the ground. Those 2 touchdowns really bailed him out. I think Gus Edwards is a touchdown or bust play here. He's not really going to get any usage in the passing game, so he's going to have to either be one, really efficient on the ground and run for like over 100 yards, or he's going to have to get into the end zone once, if not twice. It's 7,600. I don't think Gus Edwards really stands out here. Again, I think he's a touchdown or bust play. Rashad Bateman at 7K. Like, if I had to go to any other Ravens pass catcher besides Mark Andrews, I think Bateman would be the guy that I would target next. Bateman's probably going to, get 6, 7, 8 targets here. He did play a decent amount of snaps last week. I know he led the wide receiver core in snaps played. He played on 56, or he actually was second on the team, excuse me. So Devin Duvernay led the wide receiver core in snaps played last week, 66%. Rashad Bateman played 56% of the snaps. That was also Bateman's first game back from injury. He did not practice on Tuesday, so we'll have to monitor his status here on the short week. I expect Bateman to play. If he does play, I think he's fine, but I'm not going out of my way to target Bateman here. I don't think he stands out as a priority play. And then same goes for Devin Duvernay. It's just hard to feel great about any of these Ravens pass catchers besides Mark Andrews. Now, can one of these guys catch a touchdown? Absolutely. And if they do that, they're probably going to be solid. But I don't really see them getting enough volume to warrant their price tags. You're just taking shots here on guys like Duvernay and Bateman. I think Bateman's the most talented receiver besides Andrews. So if you want to just bank on talent for Bateman, I don't hate that, but I'm not in love with these Ravens guys, Edwards, Bateman, Duvernay. I think they're all priced correctly, if not a little bit overpriced. None of them really stand out to me on this slate. And then talking about some potential value, there's not really much value here. You got Russell Gage at 5,800, who's kind of been operating as the slot wide receiver. Last week, Russell Gage played on 61% of the snaps. He saw 5 targets. He had that really big game the week that the week that Godwin, Evans, Julio were all out. Russell Gage had a really big game. But since then, he hasn't really done anything. And when Godwin's and Evans have been healthy, Gage has just been seeing 4 or 5 targets at the most. He's a touchdown or bust play. I think he's going to have to get into the end zone to probably warrant rostering at 5,800. But he should be out there for at least 50, 60% of the snaps. He's definitely a playable option, but I don't feel great about Russell Gage. I wish he was a little bit cheaper. Julio Jones hasn't played since week 4. We don't know yet if Julio is going to play on Thursday night. He was limited in Tuesday's walkthrough, so this will be something to monitor heading up to Thursday night. I'm recording this video on Tuesday night, by the way. I don't know if Julio plays or not. If he does, what kind of role is he going to have? Probably not much of a role. He's basically going to be the wide receiver 4. He'll probably play 20 to 30% of the snaps. Maybe he gets a couple deep targets. I wouldn't expect much from Julio here. I think at 5,400, he's just kind of a GPP dart throw. Nothing more than that. He's pretty much a touchdown or bust play. It's really disappointing. I thought Julio was actually going to have a pretty good year this year with Tampa Bay, and that's just not been the case. The dude just can't stay healthy. I honestly think it might be time for Julio to hang him up, to be honest with you. But then you got Cade Otton at 5K. Cade Otton's been operating as the number 1 tight end for Tampa Bay. He's been getting some volume, not great opportunity, but last few games, 7, 3, 5 targets. I know he did play over 80% of the snaps. He played 81% of the snaps last week, so he's going to be on the field a good amount. But again, he's 5K, so it's not like we're getting this great discount on Cade Otton. I think he's another kind of just touchdown or bust play. He could maybe have a game like he did last week where he gets 4 catches for 60 yards. He could score 10 or 11 Draftkings points without getting into the end zone, but in order for him to be in the optimal lineup, for him to put up a score that you have to have, he's probably going to have to score a touchdown. I just don't see him getting enough volume to where he can put up 100 plus yards. I just don't think that's going to happen. And he's not going to get 8 or 9 catches. I'd be very surprised if that happens too. So at 5K, Cade Otton is a playable value, but he's not someone that I'm in love with. Rachaad White, we did talk about how his role's kind of been expanding. He's been seeing more snaps. Last week, again, he played 40% of the snap or 43% of the snaps last week. He did see 7 touches, had 6 carries, and also got 2 targets. Rachaad White is someone that they will involve in the passing game, so maybe by some chance, if Tampa Bay's offense really struggles here and they're playing from behind again, you could see more snaps for Rachaad White. At 4,800, I'm not really that interested in Rachaad White, but I think he does offer some upside. I think he's definitely I think he's going to start seeing more opportunity as the season progresses, just because Leonard Fournette has not been that good lately. Leonard Fournette definitely has been inefficient, which could obviously mean more opportunity for a guy like Rachaad White. He's obviously a very young player that they probably want to see. They want to see what they have in him. So I don't hate taking a shot on Rachaad White for value. He's another guy that's probably going to have to get into the end zone to warrant rostering. But at 4,800, I mean, he's definitely a playable value if you do want to go there. Kenyon Drake, he was kind of the RB2 last week for the Ravens. Do want to pull up their snaps played. So the Ravens pretty much ran like a three-headed committee at running back last week. 36% of the snaps for Gus Edwards, 31% for Justice Hill, 27% for Kenyon Drake. So Justice Hill actually outsnapped Kenyon Drake, but Kenyon Drake saw more touches. He got 11 carries, only had 5 yards, so he averaged 0.5 yards per carry. Just obviously not a good game at all for Kenyon Drake. I mean, the Ravens, they're going to run this three-headed committee at running back. They're going to involve Gus Edwards. They're going to involve Drake. They're going to involve Justice Hill. Honestly, it's a situation I just kind of want to avoid, but I feel like on a showdown slate, we kind of have to consider these guys. Drake, he hasn't really shown much this season at all, but he's going to get some opportunity because we know the Ravens, they do want to run the ball a lot. They're just stubborn and just for some reason just want to run the ball. I wish they would just let Lamar throw the ball like 40 times, but it doesn't seem like they're going to do that. So you're probably going to get like 8 to 10 carries once again for Kenyon Drake. He'll have to be efficient on the ground, and this is definitely a tough matchup for efficiency. Tampa Bay's done a really good job, again, limiting opposing running backs. But at 4,600, as an RB2 that's going to get like 10 to 12 touches probably, I think Drake is in play for value. I'm not in love with the defenses here. I know Tampa Bay's offense has been struggling, but I don't really want to go to the Ravens defense at 4,400. I'd probably rather get up to like some of those guys we talked about, like Otten and White. Even the kickers. The kickers, I think, are solid here. These showdown slates have been really tough to find value lately, so the kickers just kind of always stand out as good values, and I kind of think that's the case once again. I do like both kickers quite a bit. And after that, man, like it's really nothing's down here that you feel good about. I mean, Scotty Miller is basically, if Julio plays, Scotty Miller might be like the wide receiver 5. Maybe he gets a couple targets. At 3,200, he's just a dart throw at best. Demarcus Robinson, he did play like a decent amount of snaps last week, but he didn't see a single target. He played 15 snaps, got 0 targets. He's like a dart throw at best. He's going to be like the wide receiver 4 for the Ravens. Probably not going to play enough to warrant rostering. Justice Hill, like I think if I'm going to take a shot on somebody down here, it probably would be Justice Hill. Justice Hill, again, he played 31% of the snaps last week. He did see 5 carries. He was much more efficient on the ground than a guy like Kenyon Drake was. So maybe after last week with Drake being so bad on the ground, like efficiency-wise, maybe they give more carries to Justice Hill here. It was Justice Hill's first game back from injury. He had been out since week 4, so maybe they wanted to kind of ease him in, and maybe he sees more opportunity this week. He's probably like the best punt value play. If you're going to go this cheap, I think he is the best option. There's just nothing else down here that really stands out. Even Deshaun Jackson, I do want to mention because he did get signed to the Ravens practice squad. But we'll have to see if he gets called up for this game. He might not even be active, but if he does get called up for this game, I mean, maybe you could take a shot on Deshaun Jackson if he's active, but obviously don't feel great about that. Again, like I think if I'm going this cheap, I'm looking to Justice Hill. I think he's the best like kind of punt value play down here. It's a gross slate, though, for value. There's really not a ton that I love. I mean, the kickers, I think, look solid once again. You could go to guys like Otten and Drake and White, but, man, there's not much down here that I'm really liking. Obviously, at the top, there's a ton of plays to love at the top, but we're going to have to definitely try and find the right value plays. But this should be an interesting showdown slate, guys. It should be a fun game to watch. I'm excited for this one on Thursday night. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed these showdown videos. If they do help you, make sure to hit that like button before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And check out PrizePicks, the sponsor of the video. Once again, you can sign up for PrizePicks and use promo code NOAH. When you do sign up with my promo code, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. I do plan on providing some picks for this Thursday night game. I probably will upload my PrizePicks video sometime on Wednesday, maybe Wednesday night. So definitely check out the channel sometime on Wednesday. Should have a PrizePicks video up for this Thursday night game, sharing a couple player props I like that I will be playing. If you want to check that video out, tell the props that I'm playing, you can do so. But make sure you guys sign up for PrizePicks, use code NOAH, and get that deposit bonus when you do sign up. But as always, best of luck on this showdown slate, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.